Hare Krishna. Welcome all devotees to the Gita Daily session. So thanks for joining. So today we'll be continuing the discussion on Bhagavad Gita. We'll be discussing Sloka number 3.9, the Sloka 9 from chapter 3. So let's take the blessings of the Lord. Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai Sudarshan Gaurantai Nrsimhadev and Panchatattva. So let's recite the place. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमदे भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So let's dedicate the session to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, by whose mercy we are able to understand Bhagavad Gita in a very simple and practical way. So let's start today's discussion. So today's topic, shloka number is 9th shloka from chapter 3. So now we are moving to chapter 3. So till yesterday we discussed chapter 2. So today's shloka, we'll recite it together. You can repeat after me. यत्नार्थात् कर्मणो अन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धन तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर. Repetition. यत्नार्थात् कर्मणो अन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धन तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Work done as sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. So, we'll see the word to word meaning. Yatnarthat, done only for the sake of Yatna or Vishnu. Karmana, than work. Anyatra, otherwise. Loka, world. I am this. Karma bandhana, bondage by work. Tad, of him. Artham, for the sake. Karma, work. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti. Mukta Sangha, liberated from association. Samachara, do perfectly. So let's see the translation again. Work done as sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. So, today we are actually discussing the new topic of chapter 3. The topic is about karma. So, Krishna introduces the topic of karma in the third chapter, and also in the fifth chapter, Krishna elaborates it further. So, so the chapter 2, we had discussed the fundamental principles of spirituality. So chapter 2 is also known as the contents of Gita. So basically it's a summary of entire Gita. Essence of Gita, what we have to know in Bhagavad Gita is contained in the chapter 2. The information about the knowledge about the soul, right? Who is the real identity and what is the destination? How can we free from cycle of birth and death? So this is the essence of chapter 2. Now the Lord introduces the topic of karma. So the topic of karma, it is mentioned in scriptures that it is very complex. Even the great learned scholars, they are finding it very difficult to understand how the karma works, right? So, so the acharyas. So what you also I just want to reiterate is that in Bhagavad Gita there are 18 chapters and 700 shlokas, right? So we have selected 108 shlokas from the 700 shlokas, which actually carries the essence of Bhagavad Gita, right? So these topics, these slokas have the essential meanings. So we get the essence of all the knowledge without losing the important concepts. So so this particular shloka is actually introducing the concept of karma. So we have briefly touched upon karma, right, when we discussed the previous shlokas. So in the simple term, karma means activity or work, right? But then when we go in more detail, the karma actually has are different kinds of karma, right? The activities that bind us in the material world. So we saw that in the material world there is the cycle of birth and death, right? So the jiva transmigrates from one body to another based on two facts. One is the desire of the jiva, and second is based on the karma. So the karma is the actually the reason for the bondage of the jiva. So basically, what happens in the material world, we perform various activities, right? And these activities are fundamentally of three types. So we call it actually karma, akarma, and vikarma. Okay, so these are the three kind of activity karma. So so karma, generally karma means the activities which are performed in accordance to Vedic injunctions, right? So the scriptures provide us various activities which are supposed to be performed in the karma ganda section, for example, right? So this activity, if you follow strictly the Vedic activities and perform the activities, then the karma is this karma is generally known as simply karma. So this karma also we can call it as a good karma. So the good karma are activities which will give you punya or good reactions. But then this will cause bondage because again we have to take birth to enjoy the results of good karma. Then the second karma is called vikarma, is those activities which are against the scriptures. No, you violate the scriptural injunction and perform activities. This is known as vikarma or bad karma. Like for example, sinful activities like harming somebody, killing somebody, right? So these kind of activities, known as vikarma, this will result in papa or bad reactions. So you have to take birth again to suffer the reactions of bad karma. So this way, punya and pava both actually bind the jiva in the material world. And also, this punya and pava cannot be neutralized. You do like 10 activities which are punya, and you do 10 activities which are pava, which are equivalent, and try to neutralize it will not work. You have to separately enjoy the punya and separately suffer the pava. So, so this way, punya and papa both binds the jiva. And the third karma is called akarma. Akarma is that karma which doesn't give you any reaction, which are basically frees you from the cycle of birth and death. So generally, activities which are done in accordance to the Lord's desire, the Lord Supreme Lord's desire, or activities which are spiritual, right? So this spiritual activity is the activity which frees from cycle of birth and death. So today's topic, Krishna is telling Arjuna, that what activities results in bondage and what activities will result, free you from bondage. So the Lord is saying that any activity, yatnarthat karmano anyatro karma bandhana. So basically, any activity which is done not for the satisfaction of the Lord, right, that results in the bondage. So how do we know what activities will please the Lord, which Lord actually also already has given in the scriptures in Bhagavad Gita? Krishna, no, if you follow the instructions of Krishna, which is given to Arjuna, those are the activities. And then other things we can know through the acharyas, our guru, spiritual master. No, the guru can give us direction. So in our, let's say, in our day-to-day life, we are confused, whether I should do this work or whether I should do that work. Such activities can be clarified by guru, sadhu, and shastra. So one is the spiritual master; he can clarify. Then sadhu is a pure devotee of the Lord, and shastra, the scriptures. But generally, interpreting scriptures ourselves is very challenging, difficult, right? So it's mentioned. I just mentioned in the beginning. No, even great philosophers and scholars are finding it very difficult to understand what exactly, how the karma is working. So we need the guidance of the spiritual master. So, so there are some scriptures. So how do we know? So whom to be satisfied, right? There are many gods, right? We know. So how do we know who is ultimate God to be satisfied? Is from scriptural references we can come to know. So in Bhagavad Gita itself, chapter 5, sloka number 29, the Lord says, Bhoktaram yadna tabasam sarva loka maheshwaram suhridam sarva buddhanam natu amam shantirichyati. We will come to this sloka in the later session. But essentially, Lord is saying that Bhoktaram yadna tabasam sarva loka maheshwaram. So he's saying that I am the ultimate benefiter of all the yajna, yajna and tapas, right? All the austerities and yagyas the jivas perform. The ultimate benefactor is Lord Krishna himself. In Yajurveda, then the Taittiriya Samhita, it is mentioned Vishnu Ryatnasya Bhokta, right? So here again it is mentioned Vishnu is the enjoyer of sacrifice. Right, so if you are familiar with yagyas and homas, so normally in the beginning of all the yagyas and homas, Lord Vishnu is invoked. The mantras of Lord Vishnu is invoked because he is the ultimate benefactor. Even though you may do yagya to satisfy Indra, Varuna, etc., But ultimately, we actually invoke Vishnu's name, because Lord Vishnu is the ultimate benefactor. So yajna could mean the explicit, physical yajnas or homas we perform, but yajna also means work that we perform. Right? Whatever activities we perform is also yajna. So what we have to understand, what is the secret of performing work, is that the work should be performed ultimately in such a way that it should not be for our own satisfaction. So if you do karma or activity for a personal satisfaction, that actually causes bondage, right? And if you do yajna which actually pleases the Supreme Lord Krishna, then that yajna or that karma will free us from cycle of birth and death. So this is the essential secret of the principle of karma. So we will also continue the discussion that today we are just introducing the concept of karma, but we may have some doubts which may be clarified in the coming sessions, right? Or if there are specific doubts, we can discuss. So the process, we don't have to really break our head to understand what activities, like what is karma vikarma, etc. We have to understand the principles, but we if we just follow the process given by the acharyas, right, then actually that is sufficient. Everything is contained in that. So the acharyas in our disciplic succession goes back to Lord Krishna, right? This parampara is called Brahmam Adhava Gaudiya Parampara, which start from Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma gets the spiritual knowledge from Lord Krishna directly in the beginning of creation, and it is coming through a parampara. So the acharyas have essenced, basically they have churned the entire Vedic scriptures and has found the essence of all the learning, which is actually what is ultimately beneficial for the jiva to get out of the cycle of birth and death. Not only that, but to attain the highest perfection by returning to the spiritual world. So the acharyas have formulated the different process, what has to be done, what are the do's, don'ts, etc. So if you just follow, have faith in them, and follow those instructions, automatically, we will be following the right path. We'll be doing our karma according to, like we will be performing akarma. So essentially, the essence of all the understanding by the acharyas, even Veda Vyas, Krishna Dvipayana Vyasa, who compiled all the Vedas, he finally, in the maturity of his knowledge, he compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam we discussed earlier. No, so Bhagavatam is the commentary on Vedanta Sutra. So Vedanta is the conclusion of Vedas. Veda Anta. The conclusion of Veda is Vedanta, and then the Vedanta Sutra are the formula or secret, like small snippets for actually which actually, or sutras means like a formula which contains the Vedic knowledge or Vedanta. And Srimad Bhagavatam is a commentary, a natural commentary by Vyasdev on on the Vedanta. So the conclusion is given by the pure devotees of the Lord, right? So they all came to the conclusion that bhakti to the Supreme Lord, right, performing bhakti yoga is the uh, ultimate, like which will result in the ultimate perfection. So essentially, what it means is that we have to understand, who are we, right? What is our original identity? Who is the Supreme Lord? And what is the connection between the jiva and the Supreme Lord? And try to revive that relationship. So it is not that some of the paths actually they say that the ultimate is like light, Brahman, but this is only partially correct. So Brahman or Brahmajodi is the effulgence of the Lord actually, which is coming from the spiritual world, but ultimate source is actually the Lord himself. And there is a rasa or a relationship between the jiva and the Supreme Lord, right? It is not like, just if it is a light, we cannot have any relationship. We cannot have, like, no, we cannot love the light, right? But actually beyond the light is the Supreme Lord Krishna. We have to re-establish our relationship. So there are different rasas the jiva has with the Lord. Like, for example, there is actually the Shanda rasa, there is no Vatsalya, then there is Madhurya. Like that, there are different relationships. So the jiva, so when the jiva establishes the actual relationship with the Lord, then he starts relishing the happiness by the exchange of loving exchanges between the Supreme Lord and the jiva. So so these are some topics we will discuss in the future. So let's look at one example from the scriptures. How do we understand, how do we understand that the activities or the karma performed according to the Lord will doesn't mind. So we can get the example from Bhagavad Gita itself, right? So we are discussing Bhagavad Gita, and we saw that Arjuna, initially is reluctant to fight, and then gives various reasons not to fight, because he was thinking that, okay, killing his relatives, his guru, etc., will result in sinful reaction. It will be vikarma. So what we understood towards and from the acharyas is that uh, uh, basically Kshatriya. So one point, there are two aspects. One is the Kshatriya's karma is to fight, right? Kshatriya's duty is to fight. And generally, if the Kshatriya is fighting on the side of dharma, there won't be a sinful reaction, but he will get punya. So basically, though he doesn't get papa, but he will accrue punya. If he fights on dharma, right? If he wins or if he gets killed, in either case, he'll get punya. And we saw that even punya is binding the jiva, in the cycle of birth and death, because again, he will have to take birth to enjoy the results of punya. So it is mentioned that if a warrior is killed, in a battle, and on the side of dharma, then he will attain this higher planetary system, Surga. So, but then this again result in birth, rebirth, and it will continue in the birth and death life cycle. So, but Arjuna did not just fight for his own satisfaction, or he did not fight for just because of duty. But Arjuna finally fights because he wants to please the Lord, right? Because Arjuna says, we saw that he actually surrenders to Krishna, and he says that I am confused about my duty. I don't know what to do, whether I should fight or whether I should go to the forest, right? And then he told, and I am surrendering to you, Krishna. Please advise me, right? And then Krishna actually expresses, he explains or expresses his will. Krishna says that all these people who are assembled in the Kurukshetra war, they are already destined. Yeah, it is my will that they will be killed, right? Because most of them are on the path of adharma. So I have collected all the adharmic people or the asuric people in this war, and my desire is that they should be killed. So this is the will of Lord in this case. And Arjuna voluntarily submits to the will of the Lord. He agrees, he wants to please Krishna. So he actually submits to the will of the Lord. And because of this, Arjuna not only is not that Arjuna attains punya, but he becomes free from the cycle of birth and death, because no, he actually is performing akarma. So basically, akarma we discuss is to please the Lord. Any activity we do that pleases the Lord is akarma. So this Arjuna's example is a very simple or straightforward example where we can see that when we act according to the desire of Krishna, then actually that frees us from the cycle of birth and death. Okay, so that actually will come to the end of the main points. Now we'll see what are the key lessons that we can take. So how can we apply these things in our life, right? So from a practical perspective, we have seen yesterday that that we saw that anukulesa sankalpa, pratikulesa vivarjana. Varjana. So what it means is that how do we decide? Okay, I'm going to perform this activity now. How do I know whether this activity is favorable or unfavorable? Is actually of course by shastras. So when we see that this particular activity, if this particular activity which I'll do, if it brings me closer to the Lord, right? If it helps me to make even one step closer to the Lord, then that is a favorable activity, and we should perform that activity. But when we see that a particular activity will it not please the Lord, or if it is against the Lord's injunctions which are given in Bhagavad Gita or other scriptures, then that activity should not be performed, right? So this is a simple formula. Even though it is simple, it may not be easy to initially apply. So that is why we need guidance of the senior devotees, the acharyas, the spiritual master. So we need it. Okay, so some of the practical things in day-to-day life. So we do various activities. For example, at home, we perform activities like cooking. So when we perform the activities, we can actually remember the Lord, right? And try to offer the results to the Lord. So we will see more in the next session about it. But essentially, the idea is to be Krishna conscious. What it means is that try to always remember the Lord, right? In our activities, and try to think that I am doing the activity for the Lord. For example, I am cooking something. I can, I should be in the mood that I am cooking this food so that I can offer it to the Lord, so that the Lord is pleased, right? And then after it's offered to the Lord, it becomes like etna shishta, like it's something which is the result of yajna, which is offered to the Lord, which becomes prasadam. So when we take prasadam, then actually we become purified. Actually, we will see that more in the next section. But essentially, then similarly, we may have different hobbies. So we can try to dovetail the hobbies to the Lord, to please the Lord. For example, I am an artist, I can draw, then I can draw pictures of the Lord, right? So this way the Lord can be pleased. So try to dovetail or connect the activities what we are doing to the Lord somehow or other. And if some activity cannot be connected, then we should try to give up that activity. For example, sinful activity. I am addicted to drinking. I cannot say that no, I'll offer the liquor to Krishna, then I will drink it. This is not possible, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita what can be offered to him, right? Of course, we know about sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. So rajasic and tamasic items definitely cannot be offered. Okay, so in our professional life, what actually we can do, we can actually try to be moral in our activities, right? Try to ethical, perform with integrity. But most important is that we should offer the results of what we are doing to the Lord. So when we perform, when we have to work in the office, we have to go, and then we have to earn income. So one is that we can try to remember the Lord, in our day-to-day life. We can have a picture of the Lord, like in the mobile or a photo, so that whenever we have any difficulty, we can actually try to remember the Lord. Or otherwise, also we should try to remember the Lord always, and we can offer the results of the activity. So basically, what it means is that not become attached to the results. So normally, what we do when I do hard work, when we do hard work, right, and then strive hard, become very passionate, struggle, and then when we get results, we become happy because we are attached to the result. But then when you are able to dedicate the result to the Lord, that means that I'm not really attached to the Lord. I'm doing it for the satisfaction of the Lord, and whether I'm succeeding or I'm failing, no, it is the, I dedicate that to the Lord. I'm not getting affected by this. So if you work in that mood, right, then actually the results, the activity will not bind you. So another way of, giving the results of the activity to the Lord is by offering the result. So for example, what it means is that what is the result of the work we perform in the office, right? We work day and night, month throughout the day. So what is the result is the money that we earn, right? We end of the day we get the money. So that is the result of our activity. So if you are able to offer a part of the result to the Lord, right? That means that the Lord actually doesn't need any money because He is the supreme controller. He has everything. But actually, the offering the result is just like a small child. No, so we buy a chocolate to the child, or not. Let's say not chocolate, not a good thing. Let's say we, buy some good food item for the boy or the girl, no, or the son. So if the child gives us back a small piece of it, right? Though he actually, like with love, he gives us a small piece of the food, then actually we become happy, right? So similarly, the Lord actually sees the endeavor, or our mood. So when we are offering something, the food to the Lord, or the result to the Lord actually sees our bhava, or our love in that, devotion in that, and actually the Lord becomes pleased. So this similar. So when we work and when we get the money, actually we can give that money in the service of Krishna. Like for example, like, there are temples which actually are places for worship, where actually people can make spiritual progress. So if you contribute some money to the temple, right, or we give the money to the preaching activities. So there are many activities which are going throughout the world where actually the devotees reach out, or do, give the knowledge of the scriptures. They do preaching activities. So if you are, no, they are spreading the knowledge of Vedic scriptures. So if you are able to give the money for a such thing, then also our money become purified. So that way our karma can be purified by offering the results partially, to whatever extent possible, which permits. So similarly, in our family life, we can actually train our children that actually they become conscious about, the Lord in their activities, right? And try to give them food, prasadam, which is offered to the Lord. So just by eating prasadam, actually we become purified internally, materially, as well as the body become nourished because we are eating sattvic food, and also spiritually, the soul is also nourished because our consciousness actually purified, right? So this way we can practically apply the principles which we learn. So with that, I think we come to the end of today's time. So if somebody wants to leave, they can leave. But if somebody has question, they can actually ask either by, unmuting and asking, or they can put the message in the chat. If somebody wants to personally message later, that also is okay. So some devotees are, contacting me after the class, so you can message me personally also. So yeah. So any questions are there? Otherwise, we continue tomorrow. We'll continue the same topic. Little more deeper. We'll try to understand. So every day we'll meet at the same time. And like to thank all devotees who are joining regularly. So please keep connected. Thank you for joining. So we'll end here. Then if there are no questions, thanks again all devotees for joining. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.